Today our journey is directed to a heavenly corner in the northern parts of Europe. A country that, apart from being very beautiful, has provided its inhabitants with an excellent standard of living, and they can easily be called one of the happiest peoples in the world. Well-being here is much higher than in the countries of the European Union, and this is the reason why there has been a high growth of immigrants in recent years. The country has oil and gas reserves that cover about 25% of the needs of Europe and the United Kingdom. Yes, this is Norway. Before we start, please subscribe to the channel if you like what we do. The country is located in Scandinavia and borders Sweden, Finland, and Russia. It covers an area of 385,207 square kilometers with a population of about 5.5 million inhabitants. The capital is the city of Oslo, which has a population of about 700,000 people, and in recent years it has been the fastest growing capital in Europe due to the fact that most immigrants settle here. The official language in the country is Norwegian, which has close ties with other Scandinavian languages such as Danish and Swedish, and in fact these three languages are mutually intelligible. It is probably unnecessary to remind you that the Norwegians, like the rest of the Scandinavian countries, are descendants of the Vikings. Most Norwegians have a reasonable command of English. You will find that you can speak English in most shops and restaurants, as well as in public offices and with service providers. Norway is considered the most democratic country in the world. Here people really have complete freedom, and the authorities comply with the will of the people more than in any other country. The country's currency is the Norwegian Krone, which as of 2023 is equal to 10 cents. The country is cold most of the year. The average January temperatures are from 2 degrees Celsius and in the southern regions to -2, -4 degrees Celsius, but in summer they rarely exceed 20 degrees, with frequent rains being one of the most annoying things. The country is a parliamentary monarchy ruled by King Harald V, but it has only symbolic significance. The parliament is the body that actually governs the country. The official religion is Christianity, and Norwegians have their own church that belongs to Lutheranism. In recent years, the number of Muslims in the country has increased, while the number of atheists is around 20%. In recent decades, Norway, like most Western European countries, has become the target of immigrants from poorer regions of the world. From 57,000 immigrants in the 1970s, today Norway has received about 800,000 people from other countries, and with the increase in foreigners, the growth of crime has also increased. When we say this, keep in mind that the crime rate in the country is extremely low. To be honest, Norwegians do not like immigrants settling in the country. The cultural differences between them and the other peoples who settled here are quite large, and this draws a thick line between them and others. Of course, the fact that some foreigners try to take advantage of the state's facilities further strains relations. People attach great importance to tranquility, and here life flows slowly. Very rarely, you might come across crazy parties, concerts, or festivals. Here, people prefer to spend their time at home, in nature, as well as playing sports. Most people who are not yet married prefer to live alone. Unfortunately, as in other Scandinavian countries, Norway also has a high suicide rate. The lack of social contacts, the eternally gray weather, which has a great influence on the mood, loneliness, and gray everyday life, are just some of the reasons that can lead a person to commit suicide. In recent years, the state has even organized various seminars with the aim of increasing people's social contacts, as well as motivating them not to give in to bad thoughts. Until the beginning of the 20th century, the country repeatedly fell under the rule of Denmark and Sweden, during which time many Norwegians emigrated to other countries. However, after the World Wars, contrary to most European countries that suffered from the consequences of the wars, Norway began to develop in full force. With the discovery of gas and oil deposits in the country, from a poor and robbed country, Norway has become a true paradise, and today Norwegians can boast as one of the nations with the highest standard of living. Starting to export oil and gas, the Norwegian state, unlike the countries of the Middle East, in no case allowed the intervention of foreign companies. The country's natural resources are managed only by the government, and the wealth accumulated from their sale is returned to the people, which naturally increases well-being. If you are thinking of working as bartender, salesman, or courier, you should know that your pay will be quite low compared to the prices, and life will be very difficult to cope with. In these branches, hourly wages are around $25 and $30, which is quite low by the country's standards. Let's do a simple calculation and assume that you worked 160 hours per month at a rate of $25 per hour, which is about 247 Norwegian kroner. Your monthly salary will be about $4,000 gross, of which 25% will be withheld for taxes. Also, take into account that in the listed professions, the working hours are much longer than the others. If you are lucky and find accommodation in Oslo for $1,200 or $1,300, then a large part of your salary is already spent. Vital foods are many times more expensive than other European countries. A liter of milk costs around $2, 1 kilogram of chicken will cost you $7, cheese around $6, and a bottle of red wine around $18. So it seems depressingly difficult to survive if you don't have a good qualification and a well-paid job. Usually such positions are suitable for students in the country as education here is free. Professions such as doctor, engineer, or architect are very highly paid, but here the tax rate is many times higher than normal professions. If a doctor earns about $10,000, then 45% of his income will be withheld as tax. In this way, the balance is guaranteed, and the goal of the state is to create a middle class so that there are no very rich and very poor, as in some Eastern European countries. Most serious employers provide their employees with Christmas bonuses and vacation money, and this money is tax-free. The retirement age in Norway is 63, and the country gives you two options for retirement. One is to continue working in a lighter job, withholding part of your pension and continuing to work, and the other option is full retirement, with the retiree receiving an average of about $1,600. Considering that at this age, usually people have long since acquired their own properties, this pension is quite sufficient to lead a normal life. It is also interesting that most people prefer to work after retirement age, the main reasons for this being the maintenance of good health, as well as the greater opportunity to have a social life and be among people. In general, for people who have received a good education and qualification, Norway would be a great opportunity for development. Since in this video we have given more importance to the standard of living, in our other videos about Norway, we will introduce you to the country's tourist attractions, as well as traditions and culture. If you liked the video, subscribe to the channel and follow us on social networks.